Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this video, I want to talk about Dwayne Jones, who is Morgan's son. We saw him in the pilot episode of The Walking Dead, and I want to talk about a theory that I've suggested over the years. I've talked about this over the years, but I feel like we're at this moment now. Like if you've watched Fear the Walking Dead, at least a trailer for episode 4, it looks like we're going back to Morgan's house in King County, which if you remember in the pilot episode, Morgan was there with his son and they found Rick, and that's when they first met and all that. Well, obviously, when we saw Morgan a couple of years later in season 3 in the episode Clear, Dwayne was nowhere to be found, and when we actually got the explanation for it, Morgan basically, he said that Dwayne died. And so I want to talk about the idea that, could Dwayne actually be alive? And the reason why this theory is really interesting is because of this new group, PADRE. Because of sort of the dialogue said in in season 3, there's some interesting things here that obviously could point, like if you're really looking at the evidence here, like it's a little weird. I could see how they could confirm that maybe Dwayne was taken by PADRE at some point early on, and that's where he's been this entire time, and maybe that's why PADRE is so important here to the final season. So anyways, before we go any further, obviously make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this, and if you haven't followed me on Twitch yet, definitely go do so. My channel name is Appetite for the Dead. The link for that should be in the description. Now, is Dwayne Jones alive? Well, obviously we're going to find out here in this episode. Like, he's going back to his house in King County. In the trailer, we do see his wife Jenny, who obviously he had a hard time trying to put her down. And as the story goes, at least as what Morgan said in the episode, he couldn't do it. He couldn't put Jenny down. And then I think he says something like, I was checking out a cellar and I didn't want Dwayne to come down there with me. And when I came up, Jenny was standing right in front of him and he had his gun up and he couldn't do it. And then she was just on him and I see red. And that's basically kind of all you hear in the scene. And so obviously we're to assume that Dwayne at this point died because he's saying, I see red. And to us, that just means like blood or something like that. Like it's just, but that's the thing. That's all we actually heard here. Like that's the thing about this scene here and why, for me anyways, and I know the idea of Dwayne being alive is so far-fetched. I know it's so ridiculous. Like, and I'll even admit, like, if this ends up being wrong when we watch the next episode, like, yeah, that makes total sense. But there's just little things here that it really does make you think, like, could they be going in this direction? Like, would they do something like this? Because if you're just looking at what he said, like, he just said that she was there and, like, Dwayne had his gun pointed, like, at his mom and he couldn't pull the trigger and then she was just on him and then he sees red. So in that situation, maybe Jenny, like, attacked Dwayne, but then Morgan just saw red, which we've learned over the last however many years, whenever Morgan says that or feels that, it really just means that he's super angry. Like he snaps, he becomes a different person. And so when he says that, and I see red, it just really sounds like once Jenny attacked Dwayne, he freaked out. And I think that's when he like went after Jenny. And who knows what happened there? Obviously, we're going to find out in this next episode, but it really, like, to me, it makes a lot of sense that when Morgan finally put Jenny down, maybe he went crazy, maybe he was already going crazy, because we see in episode 4 here of Fear the Walking Dead, there's writing all over the wall. It says Dwayne, there's Clear, like, there's so much stuff here. So he's been going crazy for a while, and I wonder if it was just sort of a lot for Dwayne, like if Dwayne really got scared of his dad and took off. You know what I mean? That doesn't seem that ridiculous. Like, to me, when you're just looking at it like that, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think there's a good chance that Dwayne could be alive just based off of that. Now, when we take some of the Fear the Walking Dead details and you take into consideration what this might mean for the overall story, well, what if PADRE took him? Because what's weird about PADRE and sort of the new details surrounding PADRE is, first of all, it formed like 12 years ago. Like, it formed within the first few months of the apocalypse, it seems like, right? Like right when the apocalypse started, they were basically forming, and Dwayne was alive at this point for I don't know how long. Like that's the thing too. We don't know how long Dwayne survived for. Obviously a month in or however long that was in for the pilot, he was still around for a bit, but afterwards, even after that, Rick didn't see Morgan for like another year, or it was like so long afterwards. So obviously like Dwayne did survive for a little bit after that. And what I find weirder as well is the fact that in season 8, they're going closer to Atlanta. They're going closer to King County for the story. Like, they were farther away for so long, and now they're going more closer in that direction. So PADRE at this point is very close to King County because Morgan just ran away. Like, Morgan literally just ran away from PADRE, and maybe he was running for a day or two. I have no idea, but it seemed like really quick he was in King County. So PADRE is very close to King County. To me, it makes a lot of sense that, yeah, you know, I could totally see PADRE, maybe they found Dwayne and they actually took him in and helped him out, because that's PADRE's whole thing, right? Like, you take in kids, you try to teach them that their parents are kind of, you know, like they're not coming back, and you're better for that. Like, you're going to be strong, you're going to be an amazing person, you're not going to need all of that. And I really wonder if that's why PADRE turned into like what they're turning into right now, and why the story is going closer to Atlanta. Like, it's just, for me, it's something that, like, it could perfectly explain a lot. Like, and it actually matters overall to the story if Dwayne is still alive. Like, it really is such a big deal. And so is that where we're going here with the story? Like, could we be going in this direction? Like, obviously the idea of Dwayne Jones being alive is crazy. Like, it definitely is something that is insane. It would be so shocking. But to me, when you really look at everything, it's something that, like, I think is really possible. Like, that's the thing. I actually think it's very possible. When Morgan talks about his son, like, there's nothing definitive in what he is saying in season 3 that makes it seem like Dwayne is actually dead. Basically, all he says was that she was on him and he just saw red, and then he finally does it. Like, he does confirm that he kills his wife in the scene, but there was nothing there of Dwayne. Like, there was not a thing there of Dwayne, and obviously, it just, in terms of when he's telling the story, maybe he just sort of left that out or forgot or like whatever, but we're just assuming that obviously at this point Dwayne died, and it's just so tragic because that's what made Morgan finally do it, and it was just, you know, it was a very tragic part for him. But I just think story-wise, it would be really perfect for everything, just for Morgan's personal story and just for where they're going here with Fear the Walking Dead. You know, maybe that's something that, you know, like if Lenny James really is done as Morgan, maybe that's sort of the whole purpose here for season 8. Maybe he wants to try and find Dwayne. Maybe Dwayne's been staying at PADRE this entire time. Like who knows? It's very possible. Or maybe he left when he got a lot older, because obviously at this point Dwayne would be like, what, 20, like early 20s or something like that. So I just think that, you know, there is a chance of this happening. I don't think it's that ridiculous. Like, I think some people will think it's ridiculous. I think it's very possible. Like, I think you could actually, like, if you wanted to make this happen, you could make this happen, and I don't think it would be that insane. I'm just really excited because I've been really wondering this for a while, and this episode that's airing on Thursday is going to confirm a lot. At least I'm hoping so. Like, if he's there and Morgan doesn't see Dwayne in the house at all, like, that's a little weird to me. Like, maybe he buried Dwayne somewhere else, but I'm interested in that, because, like, what happened to him then, right? Like, we're gonna get all that confirmation. Like, if he goes there and then he sees Dwayne and it's like this whole heartfelt thing, then yeah, that would be really insane. But when you're looking at the trailer, like, you see a shot like this where he's freaking out. Maybe he's freaking out because Dwayne's not there, right? Like, maybe that's something that for him, he just, like, suppressed because he went crazy because he had to put down his wife. Like, the whole thing messed him up so bad. Maybe that's why he's reliving some of this here. Maybe he goes back there and he doesn't find his son, and he's panicking and freaking out because he's like, what? Why isn't he here? How could he not be here? Right? Because there's so much mystery there. Like, he doesn't talk about Dwayne like when Dwayne was a zombie, because if his wife attacked him, then, like, he had to finally, like, put him down as well right afterwards. There's so much there that we have no clarification on. Like, we don't know how all that played out. This episode here is going to give us a lot of that. So I'm really excited. Like, I definitely am really excited. If you haven't watched Fear the Walking Dead yet and you fell off a few years ago, well, this is the final season. I definitely recommend checking it out for the next, like, however many episodes, because there's only like 12 episodes of this season in total, and this is episode 4, so there's like 8 episodes left after this, and I'm enjoying the story right now. So I definitely recommend checking out Fear the Walking Dead, and I'm excited for this episode. Even if you don't want to check out the whole season, just I would say tune in for this episode, because if you watched The Walking Dead, you know, like all those years ago when the first season aired and stuff, this is something that might interest you, and I'm excited for this. Overall, I'm so excited. So my honest thoughts on the whole thing here, I think that there is a possibility that this could be true. Do I think it's going to happen, like, realistically? Probably not. But there's some stuff here that does make it really interesting, and I'm excited for this episode regardless, because we're going to get some clarification on all this stuff, and we'll just sort of know at that point. So anyways, I'm going to leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Definitely make sure to go follow me on Twitch if you haven't already. The link is in the description. The channel name is Appetite for the Dead. Follow the Discord and all that. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.